Alright, this week on the Elco project, we are moving along. Carpet pad is in. Had a couple of warm days so that the glue would set up. So I got that in there. I'm going to let it sit overnight and I'll trim it, get it ready for the carpet to go over top. Carpet's inside, stretching out, getting flattened out, ready to go. Under the hood, we move on to air conditioning. You can see the condenser is in. The lines go through, nice grommets that they provide, both sides. Those are the factory air conditioning holes in the heater core, so that works out well. Did a little painting under here, nothing show car like, but I had it apart far enough. Under the fender well, you can see the bezel where the heater and air conditioning hoses are going to go through. I haven't put the block off plate in yet. Up front, it's all mounted up. Really nice little brackets and everything. Everything is all mounted nicely. Dryer, evaporator. And speaking of vintage air, we're coming over here. The compressor. So last week we were having problems with ports that stuck straight up in the air. It was going to hit the hood. Talked to Vintage Air. They had a 90-degree adapter. So you can see it's going to stay quite a bit lower. The problem is the suction comes in from the passenger side of the vehicle, and the suction is on the driver's side of the compressor, and the output, the pressure side, comes out of the passenger side and then has to go to the driver's side and around. So I'm not sure I like this, but that's something I got to wait until we get the motor all the way in and confirm. I think these two will fit. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, but really the ideal thing would be to have one come out the front and then a block that has another one coming off the back. I don't know if I'm going to go to that point yet, but that's there. Next, engine. Engine's all together. Well, not all together, but close together. The intake manifold's just sitting on it. Everything else is sorted out. I'm taking the time since I got it out of the car, doing a little test fitting. That exhaust pipe was already all together, so I'm not busting it apart. Headers are a pain in the butt. So when I've got it apart, I'm taking the time to give a little bit of clearance. Hopefully you can see in there, I've dented that part, dimpled it ever so slightly. There we go. Dimpled it ever so slightly there, so that we can get a wrench on all these heads, on all of these fasteners. Spark plugs come in and out pretty well on here. The other thing that I'm trying to work on, or checking, you can see I've got yellow marks here. I don't know what these little bosses are for, but they're in the way. One thing I really wanted to find out was I didn't know if this dipstick tube was going to fit amongst the headers, which it does quite nicely, but there's a bolt hole on the cylinder head. You can see that there, and this bracket is in the way, so we'll be cutting those off and getting them ready, because we also have somewhere here other brackets to go on there for spark plug wires, which if anybody's ever run headers, they know you melt spark plug wires all the time. So it's nice having the brackets on there. And then the last thing we were doing is just locating and trying to run the starter wire, make sure all the wiring will go through well. Basically just to give it a good once over while it's in the car, or out of the car. This header bolt, you can see, really took some beating, but now I actually have clearance to be able to get in there, because that's about one of the hardest ones to get to. So hammer and cold chisel are your friends sometime. That's all we got. Tomorrow, order a few more parts. This thing should be going in here pretty soon. Get this in, then I can start running the rest of the air conditioning around it. So we're making progress. Thanks for watching.